Okay, greetings and welcome to a van edition of Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy, joining me as Pops, and we just literally saw The Suicide Squad.
Yes, we did, and I'm going to say right now, much, much better than the original.
That's a pretty low bar, though, wouldn't you say?
Okay, how about 10 times better than the original? Can we go that?
Maybe.
Hi, everybody.
So, spoiler-free for now, what did you think of the film?
James Gunn, definitely superior director. I loved the direction that he went with the film. I loved all the cinematography, the way that they went from each chapter. It seemed a lot like what you might see in a comic book.
Yeah.
The characters, the CG was great. Action was great. One spoiler alert.
Wait, don't.
All right, okay.
Give me your assessment before you talk about the spoilers.
Okay, well, I was just going to talk about the reason for the R rating.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's not a spoiler.
You know, definitely it lives up to its R rating. No question about it.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, it was definitely a lot different. I think it was truer to the concept of the Suicide Squad as opposed to the original film, where the violence was a little bit less. Thanks a lot, guy. Cartoony, a lot more. Well, actually, it's more cartoony, I think, in some ways, but a lot more, gory. And the nice thing is that they felt like they didn't have to keep everybody alive, so they go through the point of having all these characters at the beginning, and they kill half of them in like the opening scene, right?
Yes, and we're not going to go with who gets killed,
right? But that's what you expect to see from a typical Suicide Squad story.
Yes,
because you have all these B-tier villains, and they don't care what happens to them in the DC continuity, so kill them off. So we get that in this film.
Yes, and the makeup. I have to say the makeup for Sly Stallone was just like incredible.
Sure.
Well, they didn't have to do anything with his nose, but the rest of it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's I think good. So wrap up your final thoughts about the spoiler free part of the thing.
Okay. The movie itself flowed very well, and I have to say that they did some tongue-in-cheek stuff that was really good. Laughed a lot.
Yeah.
And also got a lot. There were a lot of little Easter eggs, I guess you could say, in this, and they were, for me, much easier to follow. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Yeah, this movie is definitely not for everyone. Obviously, the R rating is part of that, but I think the other thing is the humor and the vindictiveness of some of these characters might turn some other viewers off. So it's definitely a mixed bag when it comes to that. But for what it is, I think it does a good job of pulling off what the intention is of a Suicide Squad story. Viola Davis returns as Amanda Waller, and she really does a phenomenal job. She was I think the bright spot, or the real standout performance in the original, and
correct.
Then they bring her back for this one is also very, very. That was well done. So that's it for no spoilers.
Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to recommend that you go see it before you listen to the rest of this episode. So put us on pause.
And I say, if you don't plan on seeing it because of the gratuitous violence and other adult content, feel free to listen on to, because we're not really going to cover a whole lot of that in detail.
No, we're not, and we're not going to use any of the language in this particular one.
No.
We're just going to say it's great.
Yeah.
Not something great.
Okay.
Yes. So anyways, like you had mentioned, there were the movie started off with characters that you thought were going to be a part of this Suicide Squad for a long time.
Right.
Because of the way James Gunn developed them.
Yeah.
You thought, okay, this character, they're doing this for a reason.
Okay.
You know, you thought, and actually, it was done for a reason, as we find out a little bit later.
Yeah.
But the first character we get into is a guy that has a handball and playing handball, but he's
Savant, which is played by Michael Rooker. So now we got some MCU actors. We have a lot of MCU actors actually crossing over in this one.
Yes, we did, as a matter of fact, including Sly.
Yes.
And from the same
director. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, Michael Rooker works a lot with James Gunn and a couple other films as well. So it's not like this is a surprise. But, it's I thought he did an okay job for the amount of time he was in the film.
Right. Well, he wasn't in there long enough to really, really develop him.
No.
And you thought he was this big bad.
Right.
When you first saw him, and you knew that he was a character that, deserved the death penalty.
Yeah.
And for whatever his crimes were.
Yeah.
And he has this ability to look at the walls and decide where he's going to make the ball ricochet so he can catch it in his hands.
Yeah.
And we get our first little joke/satire when James Gunn makes us believe that this guy is just the most awful thing. We get this cute little bird that comes into the picture, and he does something with the ball that kills the bird.
Yep.
And then it's later on, he is supposed to be this big bad, and all these guns are blazing. He's trying to get away.
Right.
And unfortunately, because Amanda Waller has control over them, and he wasn't going to listen.
No.
He wasn't around after that.
No, and I thought it was part of the, irony or the twist of fate from that there was the same colored bird that was pecking at his, where his head used to be.
Yes. Yes. Blood and guts eating his. Because if I'm not mistaken, the ball that he had was blood from the bird on it.
Yeah.
And did he taste the blood, or he just wiped it on his uniform?
Yeah.
But anyways, from that point on, things in this movie, there were a lot of twists.
Yeah.
In there, and you're gonna love it if you like that style of movie. If you like violence, there is a lot of profanity that I think they could have used less of that.
They had less profanity than Birds of Prey, but that's again a low bar.
Yes, true that, and it was
less Harley Quinn, which in my opinion is a good thing because
And for those that like Harley Quinn, she plays a much better Harley Quinn in this.
No, I think it's about the same.
Okay. I felt she was better at it in this one.
I think just about the same as she always has been. So.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Which is, while I was thankful she was only in half the movie.
She was psychotic, so that's her character role. So.
I know.
But this movie wasn't about Harley Quinn.
No, thankfully.
No, the world-saving event that they had to do in this film.
Right.
You're gonna love it. Definitely was incredible. The CG they did on that was almost to the comic books. was done really, really well.
Yep.
And I feel, though, that they got a little too graphic with it, saying that the hosts were dead after that.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm trying to remember, but I believe in the comics that once they were gone, that they were back to life as humans.
So, and you said it was a Superman villain?
Yes, it was definitely a character from Superman, the enemy, the villain, or alien, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Was definitely first introduced in Superman.
Okay.
So, yes, you'll love it. And I so love the Godzilla reference in here, too.
Yep.
Was wonderful.
Yep.
Again, it was very enjoyable for me, even with the violence.
Yeah. Well, I think you couldn't do a Suicide Squad right without that. I don't think. Because I think that's part of the reason why the first one was really bad, is because it was a PG-13,
True. That's quite possible. Yes, I think back when we did that, I think we mentioned that if it would have been rated R, that it might have been better than it was.
Maybe.
Well, and I do have to say, though, some of the blood and gore that they put in here, some of it, I think, was done tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
Kind
obviously.
of. And definitely, again, James Gunn is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hesitant going into the film because I didn't know if, it's almost like James Gunn kind of has this Quentin Tarantino type of, way of doing things where it's like, oh, okay, I've seen this movie before. I didn't get that whole impression in this film. I think it was a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be. It felt longer than I expected it to be. But, no, thankfully, I didn't get that, where it just ends up being derivative. I don't think it really was. I mean, even though there was, CG characters, like, you have Groot and the Shark Man, very similar,
And a weasel.
Yeah, Weasel, that was terrible. But I was thinking more about the rat catchers and the little rats like Rocket,
Yes.
So.
Yes, definitely. Was great. Or as Thor would have called Rocket, Rabbit.
Right. Yep.
So, but, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie a lot. I don't know if you want to go as far as giving it a rating, or is there anything else you want to discuss about it?
I did like the fact that they brought in some lesser known villains to fill out the roster and actually do a lot with them, like the Polka Dot Man or whatever his name was.
Yes.
Which is as ridiculous as it sounds.
Yes, it is.
But they went for it, and I liked it. So that I did appreciate.
Right, and again, like you said, we had a whole Suicide Squad where you lost almost the entire group except for Harley and Flag.
Right.
So
indeed, yeah.
So, what was that guy, TDK?
Yeah, the dislocated guy, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or TGK or something like that. I don't know. That was really, really wacky.
But
really
again,
wacky. But yeah, you're right.
It goes with the flow of the tongue-in-cheek thing.
Yeah.
I think that the actors in this movie must have had a great time filming this.
Yeah, seems like it.
And sometimes I feel like that gets in when you have that feeling, that it helps you to enjoy the movie better.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this was definitely, for me, it's a go-see,
Okay.
Definitely. As far as a number rating, I'm not really sure. I think I'd rate it 7.5, 8. Something like that.
Okay.
Again, this is first impression, so I'm definitely going to think about it, and it's definitely a buy on DVD for me. So. No question. How about you?
Yeah, I think 7's an appropriate score. It's obviously done very well. Some of the actors, like Margot Robbie and John Cena aren't my favorites, but otherwise I think it was good.
Well, for those that know John Cena, let me just say that he didn't do You Can't See Me, so
No.
So you're all good.
Yep. All right, well, we are going to wrap things up because we've arrived at our next destination, but thank you all for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. So goodbye and God bless.
Yes, goodbye, God bless, and tell your friends.